Okay, we're talking with Sally with Learning.com. Hi, Sally.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
Fine. And now we're going to talk about the technology application adoption for K-8.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about it.
We are Inquiry. Learning.com, as you know, we are working with technology applications in Texas, have for a number of years, for about 10 years now. What we've done for 2014 is called Inquiry, and it's a new project-based approach to teaching technology applications. So we've created 6 projects per grade level, 2 English language arts, 2 math, a science and a social studies project that's integrated and aligned to the TATs.
2 English language arts, 2 math per grade level. So
Social studies.
So 4 per grade.
Projects.
6.
English language arts. We're going to go through one of the math
I'm so
projects.
confused. I'm so confused.
One of the math projects. So no, but it's confusing. So 2 projects for English language arts, 2 projects for math, 1 science,
5.
1 social studies.
6. Yay! I can count to 6. I'm so happy.
So good. And by the time you go through this, you could probably count to 10. I promise.
Oh, man. There you go. That's public school math in action.
Right, and you made a good point. The whole point is to really integrate those technology applications into the core. So where teachers are struggling and saying, you know, I don't have the time for this, or maybe teachers really need some support, we've built those projects. If a student has all those 6 projects during the course of a year, you will have covered 100% of the TATs and built those really, really critical 21st century skills.
At all grade levels, K to 8.
All grade levels, K to 8.
Okay, and so you were telling me earlier that it's actually an adoption per grade level. Is that?
Yes, it is. We are recommended for adoption 100% for K through 8, but for each grade level, you'll have 6 projects. So it's no longer projects for K2 or lessons for K2. It's K1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The other thing that's different that's really cool is we created a pretest for each project. Because we're project-based learning and we follow that Buck Institute model, if you know, and I know you know that. So we really are focusing on those 21st century skills. So every project begins with the pretest. The whole purpose of the pretest is to really determine, does this student have the technology skills necessary to be successful with this project? Based on the student's answers, it's going to auto-assign lessons in EasyTech so that they need to complete those lessons before they go into the project.
So let's look at a typical inquiry lesson, and let me move the camera so we can get to it. Tell us a little bit about what this is that we're looking at.
Okay, so this is inquiry for grade 3. As an example, so you can see we have 6 projects here. We have 2 English language arts projects, 2 math projects, a science project, and a social studies project. So I'm going to open up one of them. I'm going to start with this English language arts project.
Now, are they spread out through the year?
They are. It's up to the district. The whole purpose that we did this is so you could create that integration that works best for you. So one of the things we did was we created strands or threads from K through 8 in things like fiction and nonfiction, the writing process. In math, financial literacy. We have projects that continue to build on one another, age appropriate for the grade levels, so that you can continue to have that process built throughout the grade.
Okay, so what are we looking at right here?
This is an English language arts project. It's called The Life and Times. And what we're asking students to do is compare the difference between biography and autobiography.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you a couple of the teachers' resources because it's really helpful to know how much support we're giving teachers. A lot of teachers, I know in your district, you know, project-based learning is not something that they're unaccustomed to, but at the same time, a lot of times teachers want support.
That brings up the question of professional development. Do you guys provide professional development?
We do. We're going to have a number of ways to deliver that. Certainly there'll be webinars. In fact, we have inquiry webinars going now weekly. So if you want it as a district or any of your folks in the district want to log in and see those, of course, they can do that. Once this project is released for 2014, we'll have on-site. For El Paso, of course, we'd have on-site.
Okay, so let's see what we got.
So here we got. So for each project, we have an overview for the teacher, so the teacher can see exactly what's included in the project, or what tasks are required for the students, and how it's broken down for the teacher. Teacher notes. One of the things we understand is that across a district, just like students have different levels of proficiency, so do our teachers. So what we really want to do is make sure that we're giving teachers the resources that they need to support students in this project. So for example, this project is going to ask students to tell a story from their own life, an autobiographical story, and then it's going to say, we want you to post it to a wiki space. Well, maybe a teacher needs support with that. So built into the teacher notes, we've got some just-in-time PD.
Oh, okay.
So they can go right there from their teacher side and go right in there and and get that information. So it kind of takes some pressure off you, you know, to have teachers call and say, I don't know how to do this. Well, we're going to give them that right within the project itself on the teacher side. The other thing we've created is a lesson plan for each project, complete lesson plan. And while I would always say this is not scripted, but we do give suggestions. If, for example, here we give a suggestion of a biography and an autobiography that they might read to the students to help them understand what that is. But if the teacher wants to use another biography or another autobiography, absolutely, that's appropriate. We just are making suggestions here. And then the ever important rubric. One of the things that
in order to grade a project, you have to have
that's right. Teachers say, I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to evaluate a student in this project. Well, by skill, we have broken down the rubric. And when you look at the student side, one of the things you'll see is that this rubric is reflected in the goals for the students, so they're student-facing as well. We want kids to really take ownership of their learning.
Right.
And how can they do that if we don't tell them exactly what's expected?
And so you were saying earlier that if they cover all six lessons per grade level, they've covered all the technology application teams.
100% of the TA teams within those 6 projects across the grade level.
Okay.
So the other thing that's really important to look at is that for each one of these projects, we have shown. So here you can see the Texas standards. So not only do we show the standards in language arts, but also for technology. So when a teacher is looking at this project, she can see exactly where it's going to fit into her day or into her scope and sequence or his based on these standards. And every project has it laid out like this. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
Let me show you just really quickly what that project interface looks like. The teacher can go into the teacher view here and actually see the lesson plan is available here, but you can also see the student side from the teacher interface, just so you have a feel for what the project looks like. So the lesson plan is broken down here into parts, and then I can go in and actually view the project as the student would see it.
Okay.
The important thing now, this is what the student sees. Remember we talked about the rubric? How important it is for kids to know what is it that you're expected to do.
So they have to understand the rubric as well.
Yes, exactly.
So
At the end of the project, on that reflection piece that is actually a separate piece of this project, they are going to be asked to go through and say, I did 1, 2, 3, and 4. And not only that, but they're going to be asked to write a narrative about why.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because we want them to articulate what they've learned and the decisions they've made. That's that critical thinking. We know how important that is.
Right.
So the other thing that we include here, which is really important for each project, is vocabulary.
Okay.
So I know the vocabulary, and it's kid-friendly, so it's appropriate for the kid. And then I can go in here and show you just kind of what this project looks like. This is one where they're actually going to write about an event in their life. So I can go into task 1.
And so I'm assuming that there's also like an English language arts TEK that is also addressing the same thing. Okay,
Absolutely.
So, right.
And one of the things you see, especially in English language arts, you see such a strong mirroring of technology applications TEKs and the content standards. And one of the things we're trying to get to is we want to make it easier for you to meet those TA TEKs, but also embedded are those content standards as well. So this does that. So here the student is going to write about an event in their life, and they're going to fill this in. What was the main event? What happened before, and what changed? And then one of the things, this is project-based, so of course we have an essential question, that we've already asked here in task 1. We've asked the essential question. Then we go into the next task, and we're giving them some choice. How do you want to upload these pictures? Okay, I'm going to draw in a drawing program, and I also want to scan some pictures. And I get to choose that and go on, and then it's going to ask me to upload those pictures. Now I'm in the teacher interface. If I'm on the student side, I can actually go in and upload those pictures.
Where does it go?
The pictures will go right here.
The student's working on it. Where is it saved? Is it saved on
it's saved
your
in the,
server? Is it saved on?
It's saved in the project itself. So you're and it's online. So it's saved to our servers.
It's your server.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it's not a burden for you as long as you have those.
So the school district doesn't have to set up anything.
No.
Okay. Good.
It is completely online. And the other advantage to that, and I've talked to a lot of educators about this, is that if you want to do any kind of flipped environment, if you want to say, I want you to complete this part of this project at home, if they have a computer at home, they can just log in and do that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So at the end of this project, basically, they're going to get a chance to edit it. and they're gonna, here I would have my story here and my picture here. I can do any editing before I turn the project in. So we always have the opportunity to go back and review what we've done. The other thing I wanted to show you that is really important to know is when we look at this project,
Do you, while you're waiting for that,
I'm going to log in as a student and show you one thing real quick that I want to show you. So ask me the question.
Does this address levels of technology integration? For instance, like the SAMR model talks about basic integration all the way up to modification of a lesson to where the lesson can't be done without technology. And so
there are opportunities here for enhancement, certainly. One of the things that we wanted to do was there may be some limitations, and the whole idea of project-based learning is you have some flexibility there.
Right.
So we've made some suggestions in our implementation strategies on the
Right.
teacher side with how you can make those adjustments. And there's where some other PD would come in. Is one of the things that we do, especially for a district like El Paso, is that we would be working on an implementation plan for the district, and that would be part of our process with you as a district is what do we want to see and how do we want to see that work in the district, and here's some limitations that we have, how do we make that happen, and that would be built into the process. Okay, so here I wanted you to get a visual here of what it looks like when we talk about the pretest. Joe has gone in and has taken the pretest, and based on the answer to Joe's questions, he needs to take some of these lessons. It's auto-assigned lessons in YISD Tech for him. So as you see this, it's grayed out here. Joe really can't move into this project. This is a 7th grade project. Joe really can't move into this project until he completes these lessons. And the other piece that's important, I think, is the minute as a student that I take this pretest, the whole purpose again is to inform instruction, right? Kids get frustrated when they take an assessment and they know they didn't do well, but they don't know why.
right.
So the minute I hit exit,
Tells them what.
tells me why. So guess what?
Immediate
I can go back.
feedback.
That corrected feedback immediately, so I know what my answer was and what the correct answer is. Now I've got the lessons automatically assigned to me instantly to go in and address that.
Okay, right now with Connected Tech, there's a lot of other things that are added that, let me move this back a little bit so we can see your lovely face, my dear. There we go. There's a lot of other things that are with the Connected Tech, some add-ons. Do those also come with this adoption?
We're in conversations about that now. Are you talking about now, one of the things, let me say, you do also get online safety and you get keyboarding, and that'll be part of it. There will be an option here that you can choose. One of the things that TEA has allowed us to do for the first time is multi-year pricing, so that'll be one option. And there'll also be a bundle option within the adoption so that you can choose to have custom curriculum publishing along with this so that you can actually create your own units as you've done now and pushed out across the district. You'll be able to continue to do that. You'll also receive with that tech literacy assessment for 5th and 8th grade.
Okay. Thank you for talking to us this morning.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to be here. Yay!